Hey, peace and blessings and shalom to the family. What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of Maccabeestv. It's your brother priest Dan, Lines of Israel, Maccabees Alliance Council. Just wait until I see a few people come in the building, and just to make sure that I could be heard. I always test now whether I could be heard or not, because I've had a few issues in the past when I was going live, right? If you're in the building, you already know the routine. I want you to hit the like button. I ain't gonna be long, but I am most certainly gonna be strong. I got almost 40 people in the house that quick, but I ain't got enough likes. Come on, let's get them up, y'all. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Make sure you share the video, etc., etc. William Silver, shalom to you. Eric Forster, shalom to you. Ghost Sensu, shalom to you as well. Of course, How Music in the building. My brother, I just saw you. Shalom to you. All praise to the Most High. Myra Soto, shalom to you. Shalom to everybody. I'm doing this from my car, so waiting to go pick up my son shortly. See my grandson, and I was sitting here waiting. I have some time to kill, and so I'm sitting down and I'm watching something, and I think I just killed a couple of thousand brain cells, and it's my own fault. And I know some of you get at me for doing it, but you kind of got to know what type of world you're living in and what type of people are in this world. And so I just killed a few thousand brain cells by sitting and watching a almost 3 hour video on Soneta's channel. And so I want to take this time out to send my condolences. Oh yeah, I didn't see that. How Music, the plate in front of me says 6669 and the 9 upside down is a 6. Wow, I didn't see that. How interesting. How interesting. Didn't even see that. Keen eyes, brother. You got sharp eyes. That's what it do. Anyway, I don't want to deviate. So I just sat down and I watched for about 3 hours of a video on Soneta TV. And all I can say is that I'm thoroughly disgusted by what I saw. And so thus the name of the video. Now, I could sit here and I could rant and rave about everything I saw and heard. But probably the most disturbing part that I saw and heard is the part I'm going to talk about. So that way I'm not on here too long. Okay. This is what I want to tell you, brothers and sisters. I said it before, and I'm going to say it ad nauseum. As the scriptures say, he that hath an ear, let him hear. It goes for the women too. Either you understand or you don't. I'm going to quote the great elder Yaquab, right? And great elder Yaquab said, if you can't get it, we moving on. And that's the mentality that I have with our people when it comes to a lot of things. Right now, specifically, I'm talking about health, but even breakdowns of scriptures, everything. If you can't get it, I'm moving on. I'm not wasting my time. So now some of y'all were in the chat because some of y'all were talking to me in the chat. Y'all saw I was ranting in the chat. This is what I want to say, right? The question was posed to the panel on Soneta's channel a few minutes ago. Should vaccinations be mandatory? And the only responsible person on the platform, and I'm not talking about Divine Prospect. Divine Prospect, the question wasn't posed to him. The question was posed to Ankh, Jabari, and Garfield. Should vaccinations be mandatory? Ankh straight up and down said yes. Matter of fact, I'm paraphrasing, he said in China they'd hold a gun to your head and force you. That's the logic that we're using nowadays. That's the logic that we're using what's going on in China, right, to try to say what should go on over here. That is absolutely ridiculous, right? The only person on the platform that had a sliver of sense was Jabari, believe it or not. Jabari said vaccinations should be mandatory, but only if we know what's in it. That was the most responsible thing that was said on that show probably the whole time. This is what I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, and we've been preaching it. Either you get it or you don't. And the more that I'm looking and seeing and watching my people, is the more I understand why a lot of our people are going to die. They just are. Because they don't use critical thinking. They don't use logic. They don't use nothing. They don't listen. They don't research. They don't do nothing. It's very lazy-minded. This is what I want to tell you, right? First of all, let's say the responsible thing, right? If you are in a profession that requires you to get a vaccination and it is for your living, you make a living, you are making a conscious decision to get it, that's on you. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that if you make that decision consciously on your own. You're a nurse, you're a doctor, you are a school teacher, you are in the military. You decide that that's the profession you want to do. You want to stay in that profession, and that profession requires for you to get vaccinated for that profession. That's what you choose to do. And you're making an informed decision. I can't tell you nothing. I could tell what the best thing I could tell you, build up your strengthen and boost your immune system before you do it. That's the best thing that I can tell you, right? But you're making an informed decision. So if that's your decision, what the hell am I going to tell you? I'll give you my advice, but I'll leave it up to you, right? However, the problem that I have when people speak about mandatory vaccinations is this. I'm going to let this guy pass. If you don't know what's in the vaccine, they're talking about a blanket schedule, meaning everybody, no matter what your predisposed health condition is, everybody's getting the same vaccine. So if I take it and you take it, but you have pre-existing health conditions and you don't know what's in it, it may mess you up, but don't mess me up. That is why you cannot have a blanket schedule for vaccinations. That's why vaccination should not be mandated by the government, because some of the people that take it is going to affect them adversely based on what is in it. So at the very least, it should be something called what they call informed consent, meaning you are making an informed decision based on the fact that you know what's in it to take it. Like if you're a school teacher, like if you're in the military, like if you want to travel to certain countries, you are making an informed decision. You sign a waiver and you do what you got to do. But these guys are pushing for mandatory vaccinations. This is the conscious community we're talking about now. The conscious community believes every word out of Donald Trump's mouth. They believe every word out of Governor Cuomo's mouth. They believe every word out of Mayor de Blasio's mouth. They believe every word out of Garcetti's mouth. What's this guy's name in California? His name slips my mind right now, the governor. They believe every word that these guys are saying. This is the conscious community. I just sat there and listened to these guys say that the newspapers are saying A, B, C, and D. And we should believe the newspapers. And when somebody said, oh, we believe the papers now, they were mocking them. Let me ask you, let me talk to y'all Israelites for a second. Y'all do realize, in case some of y'all are seduced by that, you do realize the same newspapers that we're told to believe is the same newspapers that how many months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, said we were all terrorists, right? They were putting a terrorist label on our entire organization, not just one camp, but all of us. They were trying to put us in a box of being terrorists, and that we condone terrorism and we condone this and we condone violence, so forth and so on. It was the media that was doing that. It was the media that was taking pictures off of Google Images of camps that had nothing to do with what happened in New Jersey, absolutely nothing to do with that, and putting their faces in the paper and trying to link them to terrorists. It was the media that did that. It was the newspapers that did that. Don't forget that. Now we're being told by the conscious community that we should believe the papers. Word for word. We should believe the politicians. Word for word. This is the conscious community. That's why I named the video what I named it. The conscious community is dead. It's dead. It really died when Khalid Muhammad died. He was the last of a dying breed. He's the last of a strong soldier. It's dead. Now these guys are coming back and they're telling us everything that mainstream science tells us we should believe. We're not going to take into consideration that scientific studies are funded. Who's behind the funding? We don't, it's just like with the history. That's why I had so many problems with them with the history. We're talking about historical information, but we never look at who's funding these studies. Who's funding these archaeological digs? Who's funding these things? We don't want to talk about that. Now we're having the same problem in science. I'm going to tell you, brothers and sisters, something, right? The results that you're getting from a lot of these tests, so forth and so on, is based on who's funding it. It's based on who's funding it. And I find it so ironic that Bill Gates is one of the main people that's funding research into these vaccines. This is Bill Gates, whose father sat on the board of Planned Parenthood, which comes from the eugenics movement, but I'm being told that we are conspiracy theorists. So I'm supposed to ignore the fact that it is a known fact. It's not up for debate. It's a known fact that the Negro Project became Planned Parenthood, for which Bill Gates' father sat on the damn board of directors, which Bill Gates comes from that tree. I'm supposed to ignore all of that and just act like it's not there. Because now I'm being a conspiracy. How the hell is it a conspiracy if it's a fact? How in the hell is it a conspiracy if it's a fact? And not all so-called conspiracies are bad, because sometimes conspiracies eventually become facts. Do we not know about Operation Northwoods? How many of you brothers and sisters know about Operation Northwoods? It's not related to the coronavirus, but maybe somebody within the sound of my voice doesn't know what Operation Northwoods is. Let me explain it to you. Operation Northwoods, and I'm paraphrasing, and we know this through the Freedom of Information Act, meaning you can look this up while I'm talking. The chairman for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, I believe it is. I'm winging it. Somebody can look it up. If you want to put the link in the chat, you can do that. The chairman for the Joint Chiefs of Staffs during the Kennedy administration made a proposal. And the proposal was that they wanted to hijack and blow up airplanes and blame it on the Cubans as a result, or as a means to start a war. That was proposed by the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staffs. And we saw that shit play out on 9/11. 9/11. They went in and blamed all the people. They went in there, and then afterwards, after they got so-called bin Laden in Afghanistan, after they brought the Afghanistan government down, the United States of America took control of the poppy fields in Afghanistan. And then what was the next step? They went to Iraq. That's what they did. That's what they did. Yo, family, I got 117 people in here. I need a couple more likes. Let's go, y'all. Let's go. Let's go. Let's get them likes up so more people could come in and be part of the conversation. I'm kind of just ranting, but I want to be clear, brothers and sisters. I need to be clear. I need to use my little platform and my little voice as often as I can. As often as I can, to keep repeating the same thing. Repetition is everything. I learned that from my elders. Repetition is everything. So you're going to hear this from me ad nauseum. When you hear about mandatory vaccinations and you hear about people talking about vaccinations, especially whether it be the conscious community or even in the Israelite community, when somebody brings up vaccinations, ask them, should it be a blanket schedule? Should it be a blanket schedule? Meaning, is there a one vaccination fits all, despite your background of medical history? Is Laquita or LaQuisha at CVS or Walmart or Walgreens or wherever these damn drive-thrus are going to be, is Laquita going to ask you your family medical history before she gives you the goddamn vaccine? Is she going to do that? And if the answer is no, you better make an informed decision. I ain't here to tell you not to get it, because Israel going to do what they're going to do. I'm not here to tell you not to get it. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to be the last person online, if I could help it, through the spirit and power of the Most High. I'm going to be one of the last people online. I'm not trying to get that. And as soon as it comes out, I want to know what's in it. Especially if my people are taking it, I want to know what's in it. And I want to know the side effects. Because all conventional medicine, you see the commercials all the time. Viagra, Cialis, this, that, and the third. As soon as you take one of those things, at the end of the commercial, they give you about 20 side effects. And the last one is might even cause death. That's what they do. So you better make an informed decision. And that's what it's going to come down to. And I'm going to tell you something else, man. I've been meaning to do a PowerPoint, on this for a while. I got some fire coming for y'all. One of my PowerPoints is going to be on FEMA pastors. I don't know if all of y'all know what FEMA pastors are, but when you hear that word pastor, don't think it's just going to be Christians. It's going to be people in the conscious community. It's going to be Israelites. It's going to be a lot of FEMA pastors in these last days that's going to herd the majority of our people to their death. Because you're going to be told not to question nothing. You're going to be told, don't question, don't worry about it. Well, no, you're supposed to worry about it. If you're putting something in your body, you're supposed to worry about it. The hell does that mean? If they're trying to force and mandate something on you, this government with its history, they put smallpox in the Native Americans' blankets. We know about the Tuskegee experiment and so many other things. We know that they were doing mass sterilizations of so-called black men and black women throughout the history of this country. They were mass sterilizing prisoners, women, black women, or you know what I'm saying? So that's what the Negro Project was about. That's what Margaret Sanger and them was about, sterilizations, right? That was all part of the eugenics movement. This country has a documented history. And you're going to tell me in this day and time, we ain't supposed to question that? We're going to trust the same government that did that to give us a mandate what we need to do, and we shouldn't question it? A lot of these dudes is FEMA pastors. They're going to be, and also citizen informants, because these are the motherfuckers. I'm just going to say it. I ain't going to bite my tongue, and I'm sorry for the 4-letter words. If you don't like it, you can get off the stream. These are going to be the same motherfuckers that's going to inform and tell on people that don't want to take the vaccination. Watch. It's going to be the conscious community. Watch. The spirit is showing me that. It's going to be the conscious community. That's who it's going to be. He don't got vaccine. She don't got a vaccine. That's who it's going to be. It's always our own people, man. And a lot of our people are going to be herded to their death because you don't research and you don't question nothing. Now this label of a conspiracy theorist is being bandied about all throughout the community for people that's asking legitimate questions. I posted a video yesterday. A lot of y'all saw it. Maybe some of y'all did not see it. The CDC has a memo out there where you don't even have to know, and that's another thing I want to get into real quick. You don't even have to be able to prove that a person actually had coronavirus. You could just put it on a death certificate. I showed that yesterday. I showed it. And another thing, right? And listen, I have no personal problem with Jabari. Some of y'all know, maybe the majority of y'all don't. Jabari says he had the coronavirus, right? I got an issue with that, right? No disrespect to the brother. I really mean no harm. But I got to say what I got to say. He was asked outright, and y'all can go watch the video. It's on Soneta's channel right now. He was just on there for 3 hours. And people were asking him over and over, how do you know you had the coronavirus? Do you know what he said? He said he was tested. The doctor said it's one of two things. He went to the doctor. The doctor said it's one of two things. It's either corona or it's the flu. So the doctor tested him for the flu. The test for the flu came back negative. Therefore, he has the coronavirus. Let me translate that for y'all. He never was tested for the coronavirus at all. All they did was they tested him for the flu. He did not have the flu, so they said, you got corona. That was out of his mouth, not mine. And people in the chat were questioning that thing. They were questioning it. And he really didn't have a legitimate answer because he never proved that he actually had the coronavirus. He never proved it. He never proved it. So this is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. Like I said, the college community, man, is we just gotta read them their last rites, man. We gotta read it as like they say, ashes to ashes and dust to dust. It's absolutely ridiculous. Listen, I'm here to tell you, brothers and sisters, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Make sure whatever decision you make for you and your household and your family is an informed decision. Can I still be heard? Somebody said it's buffering. Can I still be heard? I don't know. Somebody said it's buffering. If I could still be heard, put one in the chat. Now, somebody mentioned Tazadaki dying of the coronavirus. Again, I don't have no personal validation that the man even died. This is what everybody's saying. So that's why that's the first thing I said in my show. But this is what I will say. From the screenshots of his wife's Twitter or Instagram, I don't know which one it is, that people are posting, she is saying that the man had diabetes or high blood pressure. He had some other pre-existing conditions, and that's what really killed him. That's what she was saying. But they called it coronavirus. And I showed y'all yesterday, that's what the CDC said to do. If somebody could have had coronavirus, that's enough for the doctor to put that on a death certificate. And whatever pre-existing conditions they had could be put on the second page or the second part of the death certificate. But corona is going to be listed as the main cause of death. And really and truly, it's a lot of other things. I was watching something on Facebook today. I'm sorry I'm not home because I wanted to share my screen. They had a helicopter shot of the unemployment line in California. I don't know if y'all saw that. They had a helicopter shot of the unemployment office in California, and that line I can't even explain. If y'all could just go to YouTube and look it up yourself, that's one of the effects of this whole corona thing, man. The economy is going to shit. It's going to hell. It's going to hell in a handbasket. There's a lot of other residual effects that's happening on the society that people are not talking about because everybody is so what's the word I want to look? Everybody is so locked into trying to argue down how the coronavirus came about instead of understanding what it does. First of all, what it is, right? This is the way I look at it, right? I can sit here and argue with y'all about whether it's 5G, whether 5G contributes, whether it doesn't contribute, whether it's chemtrails, whether it's created in a lab, whether it comes from Wuhan, China. I can sit here and I can have all those conversations with y'all that gets us nowhere. That gets us absolutely nowhere. What we know is it's here now. It's here now. And what we can see is that it's destroying families. It's destroying people's homes. Jobs are being lost. People are becoming homeless. People are falling behind on bills. People are being herded like sheep into taking vaccines that they don't know what's in it. that may affect one but may not affect the other. It's a whole lot of other residual things that are going on with this virus that are way more important to talk about than how it got here. We could talk about that later. Right, somebody said order out of chaos. If you can't see it's chaos, I don't know what to tell you. It's absolute chaos, man. Half the world is shut down. Times Square is empty. When did y'all think y'all would ever see that? People are quarantined in their homes sometimes for weeks and months right now. I'm walking around the streets and seeing people in masks and gloves, right? And then if you stand there long enough, whoever smokes cigarettes will pull the mask down and smoke the cigarette and then pull it back up. How stupid can you be? How stupid can you be? So if it's an airborne virus and you pull your mask down to smoke a cigarette or you pull your mask down to eat something, you can get it. People are not even thinking logically at all. Hit that like button, family. Hit it. Hit it. Let's go. So anyway, right, Corey, one of a kind. Yeah, right. He said people are not talking about the upcoming war with Venezuela. Of course not, because everybody's distracted. Everybody is distracted. It is so many distractions. That's why I say constantly, and I live by this, you will not see me in no dumbass debates or arguments with nobody about nothing. My mentality now in this day and time is what my elder said. If you can't get it, I'm moving on. That's it. There's too much going on out here right now that's distracting people from what's really happening in the world. It's real stuff going down. So I want to tell y'all something, man. And this is going to shock a lot of y'all. It was two people on that platform that was being reasonable. One of them was Divine Prospect, and the other one, clutch your pearls and grab your breath. You ain't going to believe that priest Danyaahla said that. The only other person that was coming on there trying to make some damn sense was Polite. Yeah, I said it. He was the only other person on the panel that was actually making some sense. And that's not for me to say that I agree with everything he was saying, but at least he was telling people to look behind what the mainstream media is telling us and try to look at other things that's going on, other causes, other things that's happening, other ways of treating the virus, et cetera, et cetera. He was the only person, him and Divine, that was up there making some sense. So now, he about to go on Saneta's channel probably the next 30 minutes to counteract all that bullshit that was being said before. And I can't believe I'm saying it. I actually support the fact that he's telling people to think outside the box and think outside the mainstream media. So listen, brothers and sisters, yeah, I know y'all all like, what? Yeah. He was actually on there making some sense, especially when it came to the vaccines. He was asking the tough and critical questions that needed to be asked. Believe it or not. And you know, that coming from me, y'all must know, and that doesn't take away from his scamming or anything else that he's done, but y'all know for me to say that, y'all know it has to be something to it, because I can't say that lightly. Y'all know that. I can't say that lightly. So this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to end the rant, right? Because I really don't want to go on too long. I already been on for 23 minutes. I think y'all get the point. I'm going to say it again. Brothers and sisters, y'all know what we do on this channel. Y'all know the work that we put in over the years. I don't have to tell y'all, my works and my household's works is evident. Y'all already know. You could either take the information we're giving you or not. I'm not begging you. I'm not forcing you. None of that. But what I will say, I'm your brother, and remember, one of these days, you'll appreciate what I'm telling you. At the very least, make an informed decision. And if you know you're going to choose to take a vaccine because of what you do for work, because you may want to travel, because, let's keep it frank, you're scared, the media done got you, the mainstream media that said we're all terrorists, now you believe them again, they got you scared. If you know you're going to do that, brothers and sisters, please at least change the way that you're living. Please at least, I'm begging you, please at least change some of the things that you're eating. If you can't do that, please at least do flushes and cleanses and study more and learn more about the human body. Learn more about viruses. Learn more about pathogens. Learn more about yourself. Educate yourself. Many of you are quarantined in the house right now. Are you taking how much time out of the day are you closing all your windows of Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and take 1 hour out the day to do some research on anything? I don't care if you read scriptures. I don't care if you read history. I don't care if you read about health, whatever, study on the corona. Take an hour a day and close down all the dumb social media and learn something. Don't come out of this, wherever we come out on the other side of this pandemic, wherever we're going to be, and we don't know what that is. Are we going to have mandatory vaccines or are we not? Are the curfews going to stay in place? Or are they not? Are we going to have digital currency? Or are we still going to have actual money? We don't know how this thing is going to end up in the long run. However, wherever we end up, don't come out the same as you was. That's insane. The very definition of insanity is to do the same thing, expecting different results. That's the very definition of insanity. Now is the time to really educate yourself. The Bible says we are in perilous times. Perilous times. Now, as Israelites, we've always been in perilous times. We was in slavery, then we had Jim Crow. You got sundown towns where you got to get out by sun. We already know we've always been in perilous times, but now even more, because now these perilous times are going to affect you physically, right? Your health, right? You may not be able to travel. You may not be able to get on a plane if you're not vaccinated. You may not be able to travel if you don't have a certificate. Again, I'm not saying that that's what it's going to be, but these things are on the table. You may not be able to go back to work, your job that you had, if you work in certain fields without a vaccination. So if you know that you have a job and you've been on your job for 20 years, and let's just say hypothetically your job says you got to get vaccinated, you know you've been there for 20 years, you got 5 more and then you can retire or whatever it is like that, you know you're going to go back. Are you going to sit there and tell me within the sound of my voice, you're not going to start doing shit differently knowing that you might take that vaccine? You're not going to build, try to boost your immune system, eat a little healthier, do flushes and cleanses. You're not going to work on yourself now before that shit becomes mandatory? You're just going to come out of the other end the same way you went in? Is that what y'all telling me? Because that's what the conscious community is going to do, based on what I was seeing on the comment boards. My job as a watchman is to warn you. That's what a watchman does. The watchman stands on high and sees trouble coming and blows the trumpet and the horn. That's what my channel is, to blow the trumpet and the horn and warn y'all about what's coming. That's why we're in the streets. And all praise to the Most High, our camp is still able somewhat to go out in the streets. Now street teaching is more important than ever, especially where we teach at, because there's all types of projects over there. And we're getting even bigger crowds than before. Why? Because people are scared. They don't know what's going on. They need to see us. That's why the Bible says, thy eyes shall see thy teachers. They need to see you, because they got questions. Because their YouTube circle, who they subscribe to, their Facebook circle, who they're friends with, don't have this information. See, we take for granted that we as Israelites, we're in circles where all of our Facebook friends, a lot of them are Israelites. Our YouTube pages, we subscribe to, a lot of them are Israelites. So we take for granted we have access to this information all the time. It's all around us. We see it every day on our timeline. We take it for granted. But a lot of people, their circle that they're in doesn't have any of this information. So we got to go out on the streets as much as we can. And I'm not advising any camps to go out. If you can't go out, you can't go out. Right? But those of us that still can, we are. Because some of our people don't have this information in their circle. And it takes them actually physically seeing us and stopping and listening to what we're saying to spark their memories. Some of the Most High's elect is still out here in the streets, man. Some of them are still out here in the streets. Where I'm sitting at right now, I'm not going to pan the camera. There's people outside. I'm right next to a park. If you look at it, if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see I'm by a school. And in the school, right by the school is a park. There's people in the park chilling. People are still outside. At least here in this is New York, man. Everybody ain't going inside. You understand? Come on, I need 5 more lights to get to 100. Let's go. I need 5 more lights to get to 100. Let's go. All right, y'all. So that was my little rant. Y'all a little quiet in the comments right now. So if people were saying something, I'm sorry. If some of y'all were saying something and I didn't answer you or whatever, I just need to get that off. Mika, thank you. That's right. So I'm gonna hit that thumbs up. That's right. You know what I'm saying? I needed to get that off because that was really important to me. What I saw on that panel, and I don't care if any of them watch it and they're offended. I ain't calling nobody out their name, but this is ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And we as Israelites, I'm gonna speak to us as Israelites, but black people too. When I say black people, I'm talking about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. We got to stop being so damn reactionary. We got to stop being so reactionary. A lot of times we wait until there's a crisis before we react. Right? Now, Raymond Baez, you said a lot of Israelites are dying in a higher rate. A lot of us, according to the mainstream media, a lot of us are dying at a higher rate. However, in case you didn't see it, you can go after this live stream and go back to my video I did yesterday or day before yesterday, and I show you how a lot of deaths are being marked down as related to corona, and it's not true. A lot of those deaths, people died of other things, but the doctors are putting corona as the cause of death. And that's not me saying that. That's the CDC saying that. The CDC said that. That's not me. So are we really dying at a higher rate of corona? Is that really true? Are we? And by the way, the New York Post reposted that article today as well. So it's not me just sitting here saying some shit off the top of my head. And right, Mac News 144, that's a brilliant and very salient point as well. That's a very salient, very important point. Even if it were true that we were all dying of corona the way the mainstream media says, like you said, we have less access to health insurance, less access to doctors, and even more so now because a lot of the people that have been laid off or furloughed from their jobs is our people. They're the main ones getting laid off and furloughed from their jobs. So now more than ever, if now is at the time, when will it ever be for our people to become more cognizant of their health? And another thing, why is it that the mainstream media is not teaching our people how to maintain proper health? All we're being told is wash your hands, wear some gloves, and put on a mask and put on some damn hand sanitizer. And that's the best you can do to fight corona. You can't do nothing else with your health. There are no other natural ways to boost your. There's nothing, just nothing until you give us a vaccine. There's nothing else. Go exercise, eat a couple of vegetables, put on some gloves, some hand sanitizers, and a mask. That's it. Come on, man. And the conscious community is touting. I watched 3 hours and I heard nobody but Divine Prospect say something about people's health. Nobody mentioned nothing about maintaining proper health. Nobody. These are all the guys that call everybody else pseudo. Everybody else's information is BS, but when the time comes, they have no answers. No answers for you whatsoever. No answers. And by the way, I'm going to upload a exchange I had on that channel a week ago. There's an exchange. I was on the channel a week ago, and I had an exchange on it. I'm gonna call the video when you stay ready, just like the meme says. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. So them dudes try to press me on the hot seat. Sonetta called me blindly. Some of y'all didn't see the video. I'm gonna put it up on his channel so you can. When you stay ready, you ain't gotta get ready. Period. All praise to the Most High God Yahweh in the name of His only begotten Son Yahweh Shai, man. You know I love y'all, brothers and sisters. That's why I'm so passionate. And like I said before, one of the reasons why I know sometimes y'all say to yourselves, why do I always repeat myself? I'm gonna give you an analogy, right? Years ago, like when we founded Lines of Israel, as the new brothers were coming in, you would have people that come up to the camp and they would ask certain questions about the translation of the Bible, right? And people would make stupid statements like, oh, the Bible was tampered with. Oh, they changed this, they changed that, whatever. And then when you would press them, the people couldn't answer it. But the only person that was equipped to really go into those things in the camp was me, right? And so after years and years of me repeating myself and also pressing brothers in the camp about certain things, now when people come up to the camp and start making certain statements, before I could get a word out, you got half the camp jumping up saying the same thing because I kept repeating myself. And I learned repetition from my elders. It ain't about going into all the deep. I used to hate when the elders repeated themselves. Sometimes the elders would go over the same lesson every Sabbath. I used to curse under my breath like, come on, man. How many times can you go over the same thing over and over again? But now with the doctrines that's surfacing now these days, guess what? I understood why they kept going over stuff over and over and over again. It was to prepare us for this day. And it's the same thing with the health thing. I know y'all get tired of us talking about health all the time. Why don't you do a video on this? When you gonna have another debate? When are you going to do your PowerPoint on King James? When are you going to do your PowerPoint on this? When is your book coming out? All true, family. All true. I promised y'all all those things. And I failed y'all on some of those things. And I'm checking myself, and I know I got to fix those things. Right? But when I talk about this, it's not as interesting to y'all until now. Until now. Y'all know we've been beating this drum for years. Now it's relevant. It's all good, but it's all love. Whether y'all hear, whether you forbear, whether you think the information is important now or later, at some point, you will. At some point, y'all gonna understand the jewel and the gems that we've been dropping on this channel and giving y'all for years. You will understand it and you will appreciate it. Many of you already do, and you testify about it in the Healthy Hebrews group, or you send me personal messages, you send Sister Malika personal messages, so forth and so on. So many of you already express your appreciation for the works that we're doing. Nevertheless, we continue to do it because the majority, you know what I'm saying, the majority of the people, they're not interested. But we're gonna keep going into it anyway. Keep repeating ourselves. There's always somebody new. There's always somebody that never heard. There's always somebody that at the time I'm saying it, that was exactly what they needed. Do you know how many phone calls a day we're fielding? I'm talking about, y'all see when the 800 number that I have, do you know how many phone calls a day we're fielding? Do you know how many phone calls a day we're fielding? Do y'all see how many questions come up in the Healthy Hebrews group every day? Everybody's family members, people are calling, panicking about auntie, uncle, grandmother, mama, brother. Y'all don't understand what's happening because I don't always come on here and tell you. Our phone, between myself and Sister Malika, our phone in our inbox never stops ringing because we put ourselves out there to help our people when it comes to this stuff. It never stops ringing. Some of y'all in the chat know we've helped you. And more so, and let me just clear something up too, because people mostly see her. Healthy Hebrews, I founded that group. That was my idea. That was me. But because I'm busy, I gave it to my wife. Because she wasn't a very public person. She didn't really want to be out there in the public because she said, man, people was going, they're going to give me a hard time, whatever. She didn't want to do it. And I had to prod her like, no, you got this knowledge. Even if they don't listen, if they give you a hard time, it's your responsibility. You have it to give it to them. But make no mistake about it, I founded that group. The Spirit of the Most High came on me to help my people. Just so y'all know. So my household has been extremely influential in helping thousands of our people. And we're going to continue to do it. Because this is serious. Brothers and sisters, make informed decisions when it comes to these things. Do not just trust the mainstream media, and do not just trust me. Do your research. Please don't be lazy. This is not the time to be lazy-minded. That's the point. Well, you know what, Nugget, when I'm on my cell phone, that's what happens. That's what happens when I'm on my cell phone. That's what happens, right? It buffers from time to time, unfortunately. And I really want, what I want y'all brothers and sisters to do, man, for those of y'all that's in the Healthy Hebrews group, man, I know sometimes she drives a hard bargain, and sometimes some of y'all complain she's a little harsh. And I'm talking about Sister Malika, right? I know some of y'all complain she's a little harsh. But sometimes love is not rubbing you on your back and telling you what you want to hear or being nice to you about. Sometimes you need somebody, some of you brothers and sisters, when it comes to some of this health stuff, some of you need somebody to yell at you, to raise their voice at you, and maybe even to halfway curse you out to get your damn attention. And I see her doing some of that in the group, and then she'll come to me and be like, hey, somebody's probably going to come to you and say I was a little harsh. And I was like, it doesn't matter. Did you curse them out? Did you call them out their name? No. Okay, good. Then it doesn't matter. You said what you had to say because they probably wasn't listening. So you had to say what you had to say to get their goddamn attention. So when y'all in there from time to time, make sure, forget about me, make sure y'all drop a thank you to her for the work she's doing in the Healthy Hebrews group, because she's almost running that group. There's almost 8,000 people in that group, Healthy Hebrews. It's almost, if I'm not mistaken, I'm sorry, it's over 8,000 people in that group. And she's pretty much doing it by herself because I don't help. I don't help because I'm busy. That's a major work. Do you know how many people that is? Asking questions? Yeah, exactly, Nugget. That's one of my sayings. Tough love is still love. Tough love is still love. It's still love. It's just tough love. We give it to our children. Sometimes we give it to our family members, but then when somebody give you some tough love, you don't want it. I told her, as long as we don't disrespect y'all personally on a personal level as a man or woman, I'm not gonna sit here and tell y'all that when it comes to certain things, I'm gonna be nice, because I'm not. When it comes to these things right here, I ain't gonna talk nice. When it comes to the scriptures, I'm not gonna talk nice. I'm just not. That's not happening. But I'll always never violate you as an individual or person. That I will not do. All right? Augustus Kane, shalom to you. So with that being said, family, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. Thank y'all for listening. We're gonna continue to bring y'all this information, whether you will hear or whether you will forbear. And if you are in my chat and you have not hit the thumbs up button, shame on you. This is your brother Priest Dan, Lines of Israel, Maccabees Lines Council. I got to go pick up my son, so I'm gonna be out of here. I love y'all. And when I get back home this weekend, I got a couple of PowerPoints. I know I've been saying that, but I got a couple of PowerPoints. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. One of the PowerPoints, I'll give y'all a sneak peek right now. These Negroes in the conscious community push all that ancient Egyptian mumbo jumbo. So my question is, what type of medicine was the ancient Egyptians dealing with? When we talk about all the medical papyruses in Egypt, what types of medicine were they dealing with? Were they dealing with vaccines or were they dealing with herbs? We're going to look into that and see. It's your brother Priest Dan, Lines of Israel, Maccabees Lines Council. I am out. Everybody be safe. Be healthy. I love y'all. And thank y'all for all the thumbs up. I appreciate it. Make sure you share this video everywhere if you could. Shalom.